The village had always been quiet, until something began to listen back.
A child saw it first, but no one listened long enough to understand.
She didn't notice it at first, but something had already begun to follow her.
Someone older noticed it next, not what it was, but how it behaved. They didn't say anything at first, but silence has a way of spreading.
Someone finally stood in her path, not out of fear, but to understand.
It didn't stop with one moment. Others began to see it too.
Someone with authority stepped forward, believing this could still be explained. He tried to cross the space between them, to prove it was nothing. The priest stops, not because he chose to, but because something missed. And in that moment, even he realized this was no longer his to control.
Fear doesn't begin with danger. It begins with instinct.
It spread faster than truth, one reaction at a time. They didn't run from her, they simply chose not to be near her. She began to feel it, not in what they said, but in how far they stood.
She didn't understand what had changed, only that it was now part of her.
This time, they didn't look away. They looked at her. She sees them, holds their gaze. One leans slightly closer to the other, whispering. They didn't just watch anymore. They started to move closer. It almost happened, not because of her, but because of them.
No one crossed the line, not because they were told, but because they felt it. They didn't just fear her anymore, they began to decide what she was.
They didn't wait for her anymore. They moved before she arrived. Before she reaches it, a woman handling clay items pauses. She was still in the village, but no longer part of it. It no longer looked like coincidence. It looked like intention. It wasn't one snake anymore. It was all of them, moving as one.
Fear changed its shape into something deeper than understanding.
They didn't question it anymore, they responded to it. It wasn't her they were seeing anymore. It was what she resembled.
They no longer saw a girl. They saw something that had always been there. It wasn't just the snakes anymore. Even the world around her began to respond.
It didn't move, yet everything around it began to align. It wasn't becoming something else. It was revealing what had always been there.
Long after they left, the story stayed exactly where it began.
She never left. Because she was never meant to. They thought it stayed there, but it had already begun to spread. It didn't announce itself. It simply appeared again.
She felt it before she ever saw it.
It moved, but not before something in her did. Neither leads, neither follows, but both no longer move alone.
It followed, not because it had to, but because it could not do otherwise.
It wasn't just following her anymore. Something around her had begun to change. It wasn't random anymore. It was beginning to take shape. They didn't need to be told. They already understood.
They didn't just stay back, they arranged themselves. Not randomly, forming a curved line. One man adjusts position. They didn't worship, but their bodies already knew how.
And then, something finally moved. It didn't stop there. It began to spread. The stillness is cracking, and something new is beginning to take its place. It didn't react to everyone, only to the one who crossed the line. There was still time to stop, but he already knew he wouldn't.
No one moved, not even to help him. They didn't question it anymore. They accepted it. For the first time, something inside her responded. It no longer acted on its own. It waited for her. It is no longer a connection. It is control. She was no longer part of it. She had become it.
No one saw her leave, but everyone believed she was still there.